to our last free weekly mastermind call of the year. And it's, as all calls, this one's rather impromptu because Facebook has decided to change the game, which is always their prerogative. I invite them to do so. But I guess it was last week, Janet Slack emailed because she's a Facebook expert and said, would we be interested in a What's New with Facebook webinar? And I thought, well, why would we not? Seems like the most appropriate thing for this week. So she's on the line. She's running the show. We're going to let her go with it. Before we do that, I will say that next month we're doing the book club, or what we call a book club, even though it's not a book club. It's modeled a little bit after that Oprah book club thing. At least that's how Darren and I came up with the idea. We're going to take a whole series of videos that Liz Tomey put together. She recorded, I think there's 20.
Wow.
She did an entire live weekend or week. So we're going to watch 3 of those a week, and then with Free Weekly Mastermind, we're going to have a call, kind of like the book club, where everyone gets to talk about the videos, what they learned, what was not right, what was right, what they need clarification on, how do we actually use what she's talking about. So for 4 weeks, we'll be doing, well, I guess we're calling it the video book club, but you can go to freeweeklymastermind.com, and on the Facebook page is more information about where to go to register for that. Otherwise, let's get it going.
Great. Okay. We do expect there's not going to be a whole lot of people on the line tonight, so I want to make this as interactive as possible. So those of you that are familiar with webinars, if you know how to mute yourself, raise your hand. Just hit that little hand icon so I know who knows how to mute themselves. Nobody. Okay. So I would love to unmute you and allow you to be in charge of whether your environment is noisy or not. And here's what you do. Look at your control panel, and there's a little green symbol that's a microphone.
Yeah.
And like, for example, I unmuted Aaron. Aaron, there listening to me, you need to mute yourself. So I just muted her back. All right, Debbie. So Debbie, just click that green microphone thing, and this isn't working very well at all. So our other option, I'm going to try Daniel. Daniel, self please, click the green microphone. Okay. All righty. So that's going well. The only other option is just type in your questions to me, or raise your hand, which is the little hand icon that you'll see on your control panel. If you click that, I will unmute you. So let's go to Facebook and look at the brand new timeline. Let me talk to you about what it is. I want to show you. Here's mine. And timeline is the newest feature for your Facebook. I don't know what you guys know, so I'm just going to make sure I say the stuff you need to know. Your profile is your personal real estate on Facebook. When you join Facebook, you have to join it not as a business, and you get a profile. You get a news feed. You get a home page, which contains your news feed, and then you get your profile, which is the info too. So if we go and look at somebody, just to remind you guys, let's look at this bill. So this is what your profile looks like right now. You have a little picture in the upper left, you have a photo strip across the top, middle, and your friends on the left. As of Wednesday, everybody will have the format that you see on mine. Now, a lot of people have it already. Anyone can have it starting last week.
How do you get it?
Yeah, okay, so you can get it, let me make sure, let me show the slide because just go to facebook.com/about/timeline. timeline. And again, I'm going to ask everybody, Dan, maybe you included, if you're not chatting with me, folks are hearing breathing and clicking, and they type that into me. So please keep yourself on mute if you're not talking. Anyway, this is where you can get it right now. You're going to get it on Wednesday anyway, but if you're like an eager person, and actually I suggest going to get it right now. Just go right here, facebook.com/about/timeline. If you're logged into Facebook, they know who you are, and you will get it. And you can use that time to get yourself situated with it. Now, whether you get it today or whether you wait until Wednesday, you have 7 days before you can publish it immediately, or you can wait up to 7 days to publish it. And what that means about publishing is you can have it and be playing with it and get it the way you want, and nobody else can see it. So your profile will continue to look the way it looks until you push the publish button, or until 7 days go by, and then automatically Facebook will publish it at the end of 7 days. So as of this Wednesday, everyone will have it. You won't necessarily see everybody's timeline until December 28th, and then all of a sudden, that's all there'll be, will be this new format. So I think it might be helpful for me to run through what it looks like and what the features of it are, and then I want to talk about some of the strategy of using it, because I'm assuming you guys are marketing on Facebook. And it is, even though this is your personal thing on Facebook, there's some good strategic implications for your marketing. So I'm assuming that's okay unless somebody types into me and says, no, don't do that, do something different. So the first thing you notice, very, very obvious, is the giant picture now at the top of your profile, and that's called the cover. So it's a big piece of real estate. We're going to talk a lot about that picture as we talk about this, but for now, just know you can choose any picture you want to go in there. You can change it anytime you want, right? If I put my cursor over here on the corner of it, you can see it's just as easy as clicking right there to change it, and it'll ask me to upload a new picture from my computer, or ask me if I want to use a picture that's already on Facebook. So it's pretty easy to do. The size of it is a little bit weird. The measurement of pictures is a unit called pixels. So the size of these pictures are about 850 pixels across and 315 pixels tall. So it's long, very long and narrow. And notice how my profile picture, the picture of me, is actually overlaid on top of it. So there's a chunk out of whatever you have on your cover picture where your head goes. So just notice that. Don't plan something really vital for that left lower corner because it won't show. We'll come back and talk about that more if you want. And I really want to know what you guys need. So make sure you type into me questions that you have, or raise your hand. So here's the basic layout. Now, instead of having a news feed-like layout, we scroll down the page and it's 2 columns. There's a left column and a right column. And sometimes things like this cross over the whole page. But basically, you can see as I'm scrolling down, there's a left and a right. And it's chronologically getting older as I scroll down. So just kind of want you to see the layout of it. The line that runs down the center, and if you can look at that, there's a little plus sign running up and down the center. That's the actual timeline itself. And so you can see right here, everything is pointed to a spot on the timeline. An interesting thing that you can do with this is you can go back in time and add things. So say I scroll down the page a little ways, and notice I got to the end of November. Yeah, the end of November. So these are posts that were back in November. Say there was a big event that happened in November and I want to post about it now. I can go back there on the timeline and click the timeline and add something. And so Facebook gives me a little box and says, are you adding a status? Do you want to give me a photo of something that happened back in November? Is this a life event? So say it's a photo. And I can just click in here, add the photo, and it shows up back in November. And I can edit my timeline way back forever, adding things that I want that happened back then. Let's look at so it's generally back and forth, but you can make something that you want to feature stretch all the way across the page. And that's what I did with this item. And this is actually a marketing item that I put on my personal profile. And the way to make something go all the way across is the little star. So notice on every single post that's on the timeline, if you put your cursor in the upper right, you get a star and a pencil. The star is whether it's featured or not. So if I click the star on the item that goes all the way across, which is featured, it's going to make it go back, here it is, to just one side of the timeline. If I click on the star where it says featured, that makes it go all the way across. So things I want to have stand out, I'm going to have them go all the way across. When I edit something, that's what the little pencil is, I can either remove it entirely, hide it from the timeline, which means it's still in the Facebook system. It's still a piece of data, but it's not showing on the timeline to other people. Or I can add a date or a location or change the date. So I can go back and edit my life, in essence, on the timeline. That's the feature that Facebook is really, yeah, Debbie's asking, why would you want to edit way back? You know what? Facebook is hoping that the users of Facebook are going to put their life story up here. And actually, when I have spoken to some folks that are quite a bit younger than I am, say in the range of 20, they think that's a wonderful idea. And that's what Facebook is counting on, is the younger generation who maybe doesn't have decades to include in their life, are going to make themselves a little bit of social history using Facebook. And what that does is draw people even deeper into Facebook, where it becomes an even more social platform where people are documenting their life and sharing that with other people right on Facebook. That's exactly what Facebook wants to have happen. Now, from a business person's point of view and using my personal profile primarily for business, I'm not going to be doing that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be going back over my timeline and hiding things. So I want to show you how that happens, and we'll go on from there. So if I scroll down here endlessly, and you saw me scroll down a bit and we got into November, but I can keep scrolling, and you know, now I'm getting highlights of the whole year. But in the upper right, there's a little timeline right here that shows how long I've been on Facebook in essence. And so I can go to any point in time I want to start looking at what's there. So we'll go back to 2008, which is the first year I was on Facebook. And now it shows me all the different months. It's giving me the highlights in the center column, what Facebook considers highlights. But I can walk through the timeline month by month and look at everything that's posted there. Now, why would I want to do that? I would, well, and you may or may not want to, But I actually walked through and looked at every single thing on my timeline and made a decision about, do I want people to see this or not? And you can do that on every item on your timeline. Notice here on the summary timeline in the corner, it has 2008, and then it goes back to 1990. Now, there was no Facebook in 1990, but Facebook has conveniently created 1990 on here because I had a graduation in 1990, and they know about that because when I put my education in here, I gave them the year. So they automatically added that to my timeline. So if they know something about you, they've already created that item on your timeline. So you need to look at it. Make sure that what it shows on your timeline is what you would want people to know. And notice it's got me being born, and everybody has this on their timeline. And so my birthday shows here. The year doesn't show, and hopefully you didn't tell Facebook what year you were born. If you did, you need to go get that off of there because that's making it just too easy for people to steal identity. But that's a whole other issue. Okay, so we can scroll through here, and I actually did scroll through here and make some decisions about what's going to be on my timeline and what's going to show. So let's look at that again. If I don't want this item to show, I just click the pencil, and then I can click Hide from Timeline. And it's gone so that people that can see my timeline can't see that item. Okay, so we're going to go back to now. So that's how the timeline itself is set up. But let's look at the area up above the timeline, which is kind of in the center of the screen here. This box is something you're probably familiar with because it also showed, let me pull up another window with Facebook. So I can show you someone else's profile of the old, we can just use that comparison back and forth. We'll just keep picking on my friend Bill, who's got the old profile still. Hopefully, come on, Facebook. So just want you to remember what that old profile looks like and where that information is. Interesting, okay. So if I click on his info tab, here's some information about Bill. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. And if I go back to my profile, this is a little box that shows on your home page. And it's the basic information, where you work, where you went to school, you know, where you live, when's your birthday. But there's an important link, and this is similar editing that you've had all along. But the little link right below that is pretty important. And I think at first, but it's going to be pretty powerful. This is like the information page of your old profile. Now it's the same thing, but there's a lot of expanded information here. So I can go in, and some folks have gone in and written a whole lot about their business under their work and education, and that will show up right on your personal profile. I probably will at some point, just haven't had time, but you can look at each of the items you have here, decide who can see it or who can't see it. And this is a pretty important page that you want to, give some thought to and think about your strategy on Facebook. And if you want to talk about strategy at some point, we can do that. So know that this page is here. This is just sorting it so you can look at different parts of your profile. So just from this page, I can click the friends and start looking at who my friends are. I can type in and look for somebody in particular. I can search. These are search filters, so I can search for everybody in Chicago that's a friend of mine. And we'll do that because that might be fun. So here's the folks from Chicago. So notice how you can really narrow down who you're connected to and learn more about them in ways that you probably couldn't do before. All right, and Debbie wants to hear about strategy. Yes, and we'll get to that in just a few minutes. Good. It's glad to hear that would be helpful for you, Debbie. Okay. So we talked about the About link. Now, these little boxes here, there's 4 of them. These are the applications that I have that are connected to my personal profile. So depending on what your applications are, they will show in these little boxes. Over to the right-hand side is a down arrow, and there's you can have a total of 8 applications that are displayed here that are connected to your personal profile. So my friends, so everybody's friends list is 1. If you have photos, the business pages that you have liked, if you've made any notes, and this is something to keep in mind because look what mine says. Don't miss my business page. So I have a little tiny, almost like a little tiny headline ad on my personal profile for my business page, trying to get people to move from the personal real estate over to the business side. Only 4 of these show at a time, but they're rearrangeable. So if I click on the little pencil, edit pencil here in the upper right corner, I can remove it from my favorites. That means it wouldn't be among the 8. Or notice if I click on this one, it's asking me which of the other applications that I have do I want to have on here. Now I keep the information that other people can see on my personal profile pretty tightly controlled. So I'm not letting people see a whole bunch of things on my personal profile, but you might not make that decision. And so you might have 8 applications that are open here for people to look at. So that's what these are. When you look at, let's go to someone else's profile again. And now we're going to look for somebody that I think has the new timeline already. Dan, do you have the new timeline? No. I think I know you don't.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay, good.
As of like 5 minutes ago.
Hey, good work.
I actually had the little picture built before today, but I don't know if it's showing it. No, it's not showing.
It's not. So here we are on your profile. Notice he doesn't have a cover picture up there. For some reason, it's not showing. Maybe it's not loaded in yet. But what I wanted you to see is he has it set so we can see his friends, his photos. So this is what it looks like on somebody else's profile. Pretty similar to looking at your own, except these links right across the top here.
Refresh that and see if that picture shows up yet.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Yep, there we go. So let's talk about the cover since we're looking at what Dan did. And notice what I did. So I have a Christmas picture. So let me tell you why I chose what I chose. I'm a photographer, and I have thousands of pictures that nobody ever gets to see. So I've decided that I'm going to frequently change the picture on my profile so folks get to see some of my work. Just a personal decision. Dan has gone the other route, and he's got a businessy cover. Now, there's actually a pretty big controversy going on right now about what Facebook is going to allow, because look at what beautiful real estate this is. And
wait, refresh. It's even better now.
Oh, it's even better. Okay.
Yeah.
He can't leave things alone.
I was trying to. There we go.
So this is interesting. So let me just say something right here. When you get the timeline, Facebook is going to give you a little warning message that says something like, this space isn't meant for a banner ad and it's not meant for promotion. And don't put content up here that's commercial or promotional. So they're saying that to you. So I want to give you a caution. And Dan, my biggest caution here is if you put some kind of logo in your face box, I don't know the right word here, where your picture's meant to be, you're really taking chances.
Yeah.
Because Facebook is going to say you're using your personal profile for commercial use, and they can suspend your account. And they do that often because one of the things you agreed to when you joined Facebook is that you wouldn't use your personal profile for commercial use. So I tell people, do it cautiously. You know, I think if you put your picture back there, Dan, where it's supposed to be,
yeah,
it will be less likely to trigger the bad guys of Facebook coming down on you. But there is a controversy about, are they going to allow this kind of material in the cover area? I think, my personal opinion is, you'll probably get by with this, Dan, because this is about you as much as it is about the conference itself. You know, this is showing you, this is saying, join me. If you can use something in your cover that's about you personally, for example, if you wrote a book, that's kind of something personal about you that's not business. Now, the name of my business is solopreneur.biz. And if I make my cover that just says solopreneur.biz and I say what we do, that's really likely to get me in trouble. So you need to think about when you use your personal profile, how are you using it as a business person without crossing a line that's going to get you in trouble? And one of the things I want to say about strategy, and we'll come back to it in a couple minutes, is more and more I'm encouraging people to use their personal profile for their business purposes. So we'll come back and talk about that again in a minute. So let's see if I scared Dan and he fixed it. No, he didn't. Okay, good. All right, so let's go back over to my profile. And so you can see these are the applications that go with your profile right here. And I'm going to click that little arrow that brings it back to 4, because that's really all that shows when you're on someone else's. I want you to just look at these last couple links. And then I want to kind of move to other things. So update information takes me right back to the About page. Remember this page where I showed you that little link that said About? This is where you're going to put all kinds of stuff in about you. Notice that I talked about my business over here on the right where it says About Me, and I gave a live link to my business page. So if you do what I try to do, which is move people over there, make it as easy as you can for them to find it and move over there. So there's two places to get to that same information on your own page, is Update Info or the About link. The activity log tells you everything that you've done on Facebook. And this is a really easy way to determine who sees what. And just ignore this top thing, because this is someone tagged me in a post. And so I have my settings so that if I'm tagged, it doesn't show up until I approve it. But down here is what we're talking about. And here's the activity log. And everything I do on Facebook shows up here. And so I can say, do I want that to show on my timeline or not? So for example, this other person tagged me. I don't want that showing on my profile. So I clicked over on the right and see where it says Hidden from Timeline. So if I when I posted in the weekly mastermind group a little while ago, if I just click here, it becomes hidden from my timeline or allowed on my timeline or delete the entire post. The cog or the symbol right next to that determines who can see it. So the outer one is it there or not? The inner symbol is who can see it. So do you guys know how to determine who sees what you post? I'm gonna assume you don't. Or something.
Yeah, I would say we do.
You would say we do. Okay. So this is just refreshing who can see that post. But if you decide, I posted this information and, I said everyone could see it, but I don't think that was a good idea. I'm only going to let certain people see it. I can go back at any time and change it now. And I can do it from here on my activity log, which makes it really easy. Like here, I've had like 10 friend requests. If I've been paying attention, I could have come in here and marked them all so it didn't show on my timeline. So my timeline doesn't become this big boring thing about I'm now friends with this person and that person and this person. So that's what the activity log is about. So let's see what this question is. Crystal's saying, when I like content on a web page, that automatically goes on my timeline. I then have to manually delete things I like if I don't want them to show up on my wall timeline. Is there a setting somewhere I can change it to make it so that content I like around the, yes. So Crystal is asking about what's called Open Graph. And Open Graph is how Facebook is integrating themselves with the rest of the Internet. So have you ever gone to a website and it says to you, do you want to sign in using Facebook? That's Open Graph. And if you say yes to that, you said yes to allowing your activity on that other site to show up on Facebook as Facebook activity. So, Krista, I don't know what sites you've been to that are showing up. There's not a ton of them yet, but there's going to be more and more all the time. So the ones that show up a lot, oh, okay, yes, she's talking about something else, so I'll do that in a second too. But like if you listen to music on Spotify and you agreed to connect it to Facebook, that shows up in the ticker. I see it all the time. This person's listening to this song on Spotify, or that person's doing this on Spotify. That shows up. The only way to make that stop is to go back to that other site and rescind the permission to send the information to Facebook. And Crystal's actually talking about the like button as well. So if you go to my blog, solopreneur.biz, and you say, I really like this post that Janet just did, and you click that like button, that shows up on two things. It shows up on your timeline, and it shows up in the news feed of your friends. So yeah, actually, Crystal, you have to go manually back here and hide it if you don't want it to show. Yeah, that was a great question. So Facebook, so for personal use, that annoys me a whole bunch. Like, I don't want people seeing all that about me. But when I think about my marketing, I love the idea because I'm getting tons of information about my target market and what they like to do and where they are and what they're talking about. You know, it's amazing information. I just don't like them to know that about me. And I think most people I talk to have that same, you know, conflict going on. Yeah, don't do it for me, but do it for the people I'm trying to connect with. So that's kind of one of the things that's happening, and it's going to be more so in the future. All right. One last thing here is the little cog and the down arrow. And this is actually important because you can now look at your own profile and see it how other people would see it. So that's where it says View As, and if I click that, at the top it says, who do you want to see your profile as? So what it's going to do is it's going to show me what Dan sees when he looks at my profile. So I can see, oh, did I hide the stuff I want to hide? Is it the stuff I want to show up showing up? And, you know, yes, you can see my
That is exactly what I see.
It is exactly what you see. And as I scroll down, I can
it's uncanny.
Yeah. So notice, I don't know, Dan, you must be in my, I don't know what category you're in. Because I have a lot of different categories, and I hope you guys do too, different lists of who can see what. But look at what he's seeing. He's seeing my marketing material pretty much, maybe a few other things here. So, yeah. So
I have no lists.
No. Oh, you have no lists. All right.
Everybody can see everything.
Okay. That's not good. That is not good.
I am transparent.
So I just want to make sure everyone sees this is how we get back to the timeline, back away from what Dan's looking at to what I can actually see. The two reasons I think that's not a good idea, Dan, and it's everyone's own decision, and I'm not really trying to change Dan's mind, but there's a couple things that I want you to consider. One is what other people write about you or on your wall. You're also being transparent about that. Now, you might have great friends, and I have great friends, but I also have this group of women that were girls with me, my high school friends, and there's no telling what they put up from time to time. So just be aware of what you're being transparent about. That's my only thing.
Yeah, I have not had that issue yet.
That's good. You don't know my friends. They're bad.
Yeah, I have no issues with that. Only good things are shared on my wall so far.
That's great. That's really nice. Okay, so that's what, the timeline is not hard. Just I suggest walking back through and making sure you know what's on there. And you have 7 days to do that before anyone can see it if you want to delay it for that period of time. So I'm going to pause, and I want to know what you guys want. Debbie, you said you want to hear some strategy, but tell me what kind of strategy are we looking at? So type into me or raise your hand if Alan.
I want to know if we can change the date of things.
Yeah, you can. And it's as simple as...
Like if I have a picture from high school, can I change the date so it's back to the 90s?
Yes. Yeah. So say your high school is 1990. You can just click on the timeline up in the corner, take you back to 1990, and then just click on the line itself, and it inserts it at that place in time. Did that make sense?
Wait. That's not what I wanted to know. What can you go into your photos or into your videos and drag that from wherever you posted it to the year that it was actually made?
Yes. I don't think you can do it from the photo, Dan. I think you have to go to the place on the timeline. So say here. So I'm going to click here. Come on, Facebook. Oh, that's interesting. All right, let me click right here. So see where it says photo? Now I'm going to photo, and it's going to take me to my Facebook photos.
So then
add it that way. And then it's going to show up at this point on the timeline.
It's taking you to browse your computer to upload.
It is. Because I don't, well, why is it doing that? You should be able to also browse your Facebook photos. Let's see how you do that. I don't know. Let's go find out. It's not doing it up there either. Let's go this way. See, I haven't tried this yet. Let's see. This photo is probably Alaska. Ooh, look at all my photos.
Did you say Alaska?
Yeah, I said Alaska.
I used to live in Alaska.
You used to live there?
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a beautiful place. So I have it. Let's see how we would get it over to the timeline. No way to do that. There's something I'm missing here.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah. I don't know.
Wait. If you go to the top of that and press Edit Album, when that screen opens, there should be a button for Edit Photos right there. I wonder if you can do it there.
Move to. It's not.
Nope. They haven't done that yet.
I haven't done this at all. Here's the snake that was in my house. Not that you guys care, but all right. I don't know, Dan, but we'll figure that out. Great question. Play with that, Dan, and let me know if you come up with it. Anyone else have any questions? If not, I'm going to talk about the strategy I think you guys should be thinking about. So, you're probably aware that back in September there was a big Facebook change as well. And one of the things that happened in September is that business pages are now getting a lot less visibility than they did. There was a big shift to the algorithm that Facebook uses to decide who sees what. So on the news feed, on your news feed, you might have noticed that the business pages that you've liked, they're showing up a whole lot less on your news feed. Now mine they show up pretty well on mine because I've edited and spent a lot of time getting things to show up that I want to have show up. But in general, people are seeing as much as a 50% drop in the visibility of their posts on their business pages. And so that's one of the reasons that I said I'm telling people to use their personal profile more and more for business purposes. As long as you are also using it for personal use. So, you know, when you look at mine and you see everything that I'm using, not the way Dan saw it, but when you see everything that I'm doing, there's some chit-chat going on. There's, you know, I'm sharing pictures of Snoopy, and I'm using it in the way that Facebook intended, even though this isn't my call, so this was just something I was doing for a friend. So even though I put out something like this for a product that I have going on, I'm also using it for other purposes. I believe that we'll all be totally fine with Facebook as long as we're doing it that way. But when I post on my personal profile, I'm getting a lot more visibility than when I post on my business page. Even though I have 800 friends on my personal profile, and if we zip over to my business page for a second, and there's 1,100 people that have liked my business page, even though that's true, the things I post here are not seen as much as the things on my personal profile. So if you have a business page and you've been putting all your effort over there, I encourage you to think about adding some more effort on your personal profile as well. Debbie, I hope that answered what you were wanting to have for strategy. And I really want to hear what you guys want, and there's not a lot of activity telling me that. So Dan, what do you want?
Well, you've covered a whole bunch. Like yeah. I didn't even know where to go get timeline. I just figured it was supposed to show up, but it hadn't shown up. So I thought I was just one of the last
Well, you are one of the last. I mean, a lot of people have had it show up, and it says on the top of their profile, "Do you want it?" So it just is a matter of how patient are you.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen for a lot of folks. So if you want to get it, you
Yeah,
can.
I've never. I have a business page, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else started it for me, or a community page started, or something. I don't know what it was, but I definitely don't use it. I use my personal page for everything. I don't really want to manage two, and I know at some point in time that might be good, but at this point in time, I have no desire to manage two. And
Right.
for my clients, I can't even. Like, I don't ever have to get into, their personal page because we just work with their business page. But the idea that, I'm a huge proponent of, if you're going to follow me on Twitter, I should give you a reason. There should be something, that I do there, a purpose there, something that happens there that doesn't happen on Facebook. So to add, after LinkedIn and in my personal page and Twitter, but to add a business page and then have a specific purpose to be there other than the other places you can contact me at. I've not had an idea good enough to actually create the page.
Yeah, and I would agree with that, Dan, and I would even say, whatever that business page or community page that you have there, I would go take it down, because one of the things that you don't want is you don't want to put up something that gives a bad impression. People find all kinds of the little pages and stuff on Facebook, and you don't want them to go, "Oh, well, this guy's a loser because there's nothing going on here." Don't create a business page, and I think it was Debbie that asked this question, do we really need a business page? Not necessarily. I used to say yes, and now I say not necessarily. Unless you have a real purpose to it and you want to make a commitment to developing a community there and posting there on a really regular basis, which means probably every day, don't jump in and start that unless you're ready to do that. Use some of the other tools on Facebook to do your marketing. Use your personal profile. Make an event if you have events going on. Even consider Facebook advertising, because they're really powerful and they're not that expensive. So, think about how am I using Facebook and what am I trying to do with it.
Do I go to the same page to make my business page a timeline?
Well, so you can't make your business page a timeline right now, but what Facebook has done on everything in the past, when they first introduce it, they introduce it on the personal profile. And then 3 to 4 months later, it happens on the business page. So I anticipate that this is going to be the setup for business pages sometime before June. So if you do have a business page, I suggest you so you understand the timeline on your profile so that when it happens to your business page, you're ready ahead of time. Don't let that one sneak up on you. And I think this is Sue is saying Facebook seems to be heading towards personal use. Well, Facebook has always been for personal use, and if you use it for business use, a business page or anything, you always have to know the go-around because the default setting is always for personal use. So she's asking if I think that business pages will eventually go away. No, I don't, because I think they're there to appease us business owners who are going to be, no matter what Facebook wants, we're going to be doing marketing of some kind on Facebook. And so in order to do that, that's what Facebook has developed. Okay, so Crystal wants to know, how do you move over 20,000 page fans to a profile? So if I had 20,000 fans on my page, I would be working that page, and I would keep my personal profile to myself. So don't try to, if you have something good going, don't interfere with it. Just keep it current and stay up to date on all the changes that impact your page. Every social media site is a continuing changing landscape. So if you choose to market on social media, you need to have a system or a way to stay up to date, to know what's happening and how your strategy needs to shift because of it. So for example, if you hadn't heard that business page visibility is down, now, I will say, Crystal, if you have 20,000 people that have liked your page, your visibility is not down. If there's that kind of activity going on over there, that page is fine. But in general, if you didn't know that had happened, if you aren't up to date on what's going on with Facebook, your marketing needs to have shifted strategy. So you need to really pay attention and stay up to date. Okay, now, who's asking this? Debbie. She says, on your notes, could you direct them to your website? Absolutely, you can direct them to your website. Or would you get slammed? No. You want traffic to your website. So, yeah. And on the About page, the little link over here that I showed you, you want to make sure your website's listed over there at least once. And they give you a place to list websites. And list, several. If you've got more than one, make sure they're all listed there, because you want, if one of your purposes with using Facebook, if one of your goals is to get traffic to your website or blog, oh, absolutely. Make sure it's listed in as many places as you can. Crystal's saying her, what's down? Crystal said it's down 75%. So what is down 75%? Your visibility? Yeah. So one of the things that you may need to be doing, Crystal, is to get as much more activity going on your page as you can. So let's zip back to my business page for a minute. And when people come to your business page and like the page, 90% of the time, we know they never come back. The only connection they have with you ongoing is that when anyone posts on your business page, then it can show up in that person's news feed. Now, that's what's going down. The visibility is going down. But the more community-type activity you have going on a post, the more visible it becomes. So if the only thing that's happening on your page is that you post things, you're going to have pretty low visibility. But if other people are coming in after you post and they're clicking the like button and they're making comments and they're sharing it with somebody else, that's going to help your visibility go back up. And if your page is fairly new, I tell people to stage all that stuff. Get yourself a group of people that are helping each other and post and like on their pages so that you can help them keep the visibility up. Great questions you guys are having. That's wonderful.
One thing I always wonder when I see people moving their traffic from one site to the next is what is their goal really? Because your ultimate goal should be moving people to your own property,
yes,
to your list, to your website. So if you're going to move 20,000 people from one page to the next, why would you not take all that energy and move them to your website,
right,
put the Facebook social plugin on your website and let them comment there?
Right.
But if you're going to use your energy to do something, move them to your own list.
Yeah, I didn't mean to imply that you should move people from an active page anywhere that isn't your own property. If you have that many people connected to property that doesn't belong to you, like that belongs to Facebook, I would have a plan that helped people move onto my property, like Dan is saying. How am I going to get you to my blog? How am I going to get you to comment over there? How am I going to get you on my email list? So that there's a way that I own my connection with you. And so that would be the strategy that would be foremost in my mind if I had that kind of page going. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, I have a client right now who's a singer. She's an American Idol singer, and she's just barely grasping the concept that she should be responding to people when they, put a note on her page.
Yeah.
Because like you said, if 90% of the people never come back, they're definitely never going to come back if you don't give them a reason. If you don't press the like button or reply or respond or create some conversation and then move that to the next post.
Yeah. What we're trying to do is we're going to try to get activity here, because whenever somebody else posts here, it becomes visible to their friends. So here's something I posted on my business page, and Teresa made a comment. When she commented, that went to the news feed of all her friends, and it had the potential to show up there for, I don't know, say she has 200 friends. 200 people that don't know about my business page had the ability to see that. And if I don't respond to her, I'm not going to keep her coming back and being part of my community. So the activity level has a whole lot to do with your visibility level as well. And visibility is the key to success on Facebook.
Community, I would add, in addition to visibility.
Yeah. So community gives you the visibility, and visibility gives you the success. You need to
But even without...
Yeah, go ahead.
But even without visibility, your community doesn't really grow. And then without the community, even if you have good visibility for some odd reason, there's just nothing to attract people.
Right.
It's like going to a theater that has nobody parked out front. You wonder if it's even open.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Why would you want to go in? Or a restaurant that has no cars outside.
Yeah. If it doesn't have a police car outside, I'm not eating there.
Yeah, you don't stop there. So Debbie's asking, how much time are you spending per day on Facebook? And are there optimal times to post? I actually come to Facebook twice a day for 15 or 20 minutes. At the beginning, though, if you're new to Facebook or you're doing things like developing your page or building your community, you're probably going to want to spend a bit more time than that. But if you're spending more than an hour a day here, you're just fiddling around. You're just having fun because you don't really need to spend that much time. And are there optimal times of the day? Two answers to that question. In general, things posted in the morning are seen more than things posted during the rest of the day, and that's because they tend to linger around a little bit, especially if they're commented on. But having said that, you really need to know when your target market's here, because if they're never on Facebook until after work, then you don't want to be posting in the morning. You want to be posting when your audience is here. So
I'll add something to that.
Yeah.
I found out on Twitter long ago, using the Bitly links, that a good deal of the people I interacted with were in Australia and New Zealand. And Japan. And that was because I am a late night guy. So for them it's, day.
Yeah.
So part of the idea of when your people are responding or are clicking on your links, part of that is attributed to when you actually are there. So are you building the community with other people who happen to be on at the same regular time and intervals that you are?
Yep.
So some of that is forced. You create it. Like I created on Twitter this community of people that lived in Japan and Australia and New Zealand because I happened to be on when they were on, and I was late. It was like 1 and 2 in the morning here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 11 a.m. and 10 a.m. here, I hadn't really created a bunch of friends who were on at that time. So after a while, I kept thinking, well, man, everyone that clicks on my stuff does it at night. But it didn't take too long after that to figure out, well, that's because that's where I created the community.
Yeah.
Now I've got to, shift gears, reposition my time, and start working on, the day traffic.
Right. Good. Good. So we're about at an hour, and I would love to know if there's any other urgent questions or things you really want to know about. Please let me know. And this has been fun. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to actually talk to you guys. So my apology for not making that happen.
It's a tough call. There's a lot of noise in the background for a lot of people.
Yeah, there was a lot. And, it's the time of year that there's a lot of noise anyway. So
like
we
for
got a lot.
me, I didn't realize that my wife was not going to be here. So I got four kids who are here.
And you've done very well. I haven't
Yes,
heard at all.
I've played the mute button quite well.
And people are saying thank you. And who has a place in the Highlands, which is really close by? Is that Sue? No, it's Deb? Yes, I'm in western North Carolina, which is just a beautiful, beautiful place. So, and we're saying thank you. And this has been helpful. Good. And you guys know how to find me on Facebook. So my personal profile is facebook.com/JanetSlack, and that business page that we looked at briefly, let me take you back. The address for that is facebook.com/solopreneurbiz. And I would love for you to, if you have questions that you didn't ask tonight, feel free to post them on the wall of my page. You know what? It's good for you because you'll get an answer. It's good for me because I'll get a little visibility. And so it's all good.
I think you should get Janet on Facebook.com and just redirect it to that.
You know what? That's an idea.
Because people have a hard time with N-E-U-R, I bet.
N-E-U-R. Yeah, that's true.
Some people aren't too good at spelling.
Sometimes when you try to get domains like that, and I don't know if Facebook's one of them, you get in trouble. Like I tried to get, what did I get? And I got an email from a lawyer saying,
Hey, Weber?
Oh, you can't use that. I don't know.
That's only a $7 mistake.
Yeah, exactly. So everybody learn how to spell solopreneur so you can find me, because I'm a solopreneur all over the web. Thank you, Dan, for having me. This has been fun. And I heard.
I'm glad that you could come on and hang out with us.
Yeah, I'm glad to hang out with you.
Yes. My little dude is here. He turns 4 tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yes. He's very excited about his birthday.
I bet he is. But you know what? He'd go to bed so he can get sleep and have it be his birthday.
Yes, normally he's in bed by now, but things did not go as planned tonight.
Well, we'll let you
But he's been very good and very quiet.
Yeah, I'm impressed. Thank you guys for being on the call.
Well, we look forward to seeing everyone. Remember, check out freeweeklymastermind.com. We'll put the link to this recording. There's also the information about our video book club. And as you saw on my profile page, in Nashville next month, we're doing the Social Media in Action Conference. You're welcome to come too.
Awesome.
Otherwise, Free Weekly Mastermind is always free.
Yay. And if you're interested in more information about Facebook, I have several products that can help you on that too. So thanks, Dan.
Oh yeah, we'll post. Maybe we can write a note and put it in Free Weekly Mastermind that describes what you have and how it helps us.
All right.
And then post that. We'll figure out how to make it cool.
Yeah, we'll do something. All
Excellent.
right, thanks, Dan.
Talk to you guys.
All right.